Tuhon Jared Wihongi. He's well known in the tactical world and also a Kali master. How did you get interested in self-defense in general?
Really, it started as a childhood fascination. From as long as I can remember, growing up in New Zealand, and I was one of those kids that loved kung fu movies. I collected martial arts magazines. I bought books as I could back then in New Zealand, which is not a lot, but I always had this fascination with the martial arts, and that passion has never really gone away.
What are some of the other arts that you've trained in?
Some I would say I've dabbled in, meaning I've had an opportunity to do some training, and other I've trained in with more depth. I've had some training in Muay Thai, orthodox Western boxing. The first art I did as a child in New Zealand was Shirinji Kempo. I've done Maorako, which is a native Maori art in New Zealand, a short staff fighting art. I've done some Aikido, some Hapkido, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, some German Jiu-Jitsu, some Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, some Judo.
Yeah.
So I've dabbled quite a bit in many arts, and I've had a chance to go more in depth with a few.
You know, sometimes we get this criticism. I've seen people try to troll you on social media, and they say, "Oh, that doesn't work, and this doesn't work." You obviously know that it works because you're in law enforcement, and you've had dozens of fights, you'd say?
Honestly, I couldn't count, because even before I was in law enforcement, I helped put myself through college in Hawaii, working as a bouncer at a nightclub in Honolulu. So from growing up playing rugby to going and being a bouncer in Hawaii to going into law enforcement, I couldn't count, but it's a lot, yeah.
So could you speak to them, to the armchair commandos, and explain how traditional martial arts or even combat sports can be applied on the street?
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's a matter of how you train. Sometimes when I teach, I know when people want to learn the art side of it, which may not be as applicable if you don't train it to a higher level. Whereas when I'm teaching in an environment, police, self-defense, military, when I'm training stuff that I have more confidence in the functionality, a lot of times it is from experience, and I'm not closed-minded enough to think it's only the stuff I teach is going to work. There's a lot of stuff that can work, so long as it's trained correct, trained to a sufficient level, and it's a good technique.
What are some of the mistakes that you've seen people make?
Some of the mistakes I commonly see that people might make in a defensive situation, a lethal confrontation type defensive situation, is being too defensive. You cannot win a lethal confrontation through defense. At some point, there has to be an offensive undertaking, and the sooner the better.
What are some general tips that people can follow for self-defense when they're walking down the street?
This is probably not the answer that a lot of people, martial artists, are going to look for, but it's the answer that I commonly give for that type of a question, which is a lot of situations with good decision-making, good planning, and good situational awareness can be avoided altogether. And like I like to tell people, the fight you'll always survive is the one that you avoided altogether.
What art is the best, or what art should I train in? And for some people, they're in the rural areas, they don't have access to, say, a dojo like this, the Machida Academy. What could they do, and what art should they learn?
The one that I'm teaching? No. No. Seriously though, I don't think the art is as important as the instructor. Any art can be good, can be effective, can be realistic. It's a matter of how the instructor understands how to teach that art. Most martial arts have evolved into a martial art for a reason. It's just making sure that the instructor is a good instructor. So my advice is always just find something that has a good instructor that may be in close proximity, and start there. And then maybe when you have an opportunity, if you feel like you want to go to a different art that for you may feel more applicable or realistic, then wait for that opportunity. Yeah.
Well, there you have it from Tuhon Jared Wihongi. Tune in for more soon.
Thanks, guys.
That was awesome. Thank you. Thanks for watching. If you like that video, smash that thumbs up. Please subscribe.
That's right. And comment below, like it, hate it, have any questions, we'll get right back to you.